welcome to the Maria Show. Today I am finally going to be reviewing Percy Jackson, the Lightning Thief. As always, the timestamp for when I start talking about my thoughts on the story will be in the description and in the comments, but first I'm going to just start out with a brief overview of everything that happened in the book. So when the book begins, we're introduced to Percy, the main character, and he is at a private school called Yancey Academy. I think that's how you say it. And Yancey Academy is for troubled kids. He gets in a lot of fights and things, so he was sent there. He really struggles with grades. He has dyslexia and ADHD, and so different things like school are really difficult for him. While they are on a field trip, Percy gets randomly attacked by one of his teachers, Mrs. Dodds. She turns into this monster bat thing and attacks him. And after this, everybody says that he's crazy, there's no one named Mrs. Dobbs. That person never went to this school, and everybody all of a sudden has amnesia that this person was real. Then I believe it was on the way back, on the bus back from the field trip, that Percy sees these three old ladies and one of them cuts yarn. And when he tells his friend Grover what he saw, he starts freaking out, and Percy is very confused of why he's so disturbed by that. Percy kind of ditches Grover and goes home alone. There we meet his awful stepfather Gabe and his mother Sally. Percy and his mom go on a little weekend vacation to a cabin, but that sadly doesn't last very long, because Grover comes knocking on the cabin and telling Sally what Percy saw and that Percy's in danger and we have to leave. So Percy is very confused of what is going on, especially the fact that his friend, who we always assumed was just a human, is half goat. Percy, his mom, and Grover end up on this speed chase against this monster that's behind them. The monster ends up disintegrating his mom, and Percy ends up stabbing the monster and killing him. They make it to Half-Blood Camp, which is a place for people like Percy, who is half god, half mortal, and he learns that his father was Poseidon, the sea god. I think it was almost less than a week that Percy then learns that the gods are about to start a war. Zeus's lightning bolt, his symbol of power, is missing. Someone stole it. And Zeus assumes that it was Percy. Percy then has a quest. He needs to go to the underworld to speak to Hades, who they assume has the bolt. Return the lightning bolt to Olympus, to Zeus, before the summer solstice, which is in 10 days. So Percy, Grover, and Annabeth, daughter of Athena, all go on this quest. They have a run-in with a bunch of different monsters and gods. They almost get turned to stone by Medusa. Percy almost dies. They have to run an errand for Ares, the god of war. When they make it to Vegas and are almost at the underworld, they actually get trapped in the Lotus Casino and Hotel. And by the time they get out of there, they only have 1 day left. So they get to the underworld, they talk to Hades. Hades says that he doesn't have the lightning bolt, and then all of a sudden, when Percy looks in his backpack, there is the lightning bolt. So that is very confusing. It turns out Hades, the god of war, had been involved with the person that stole the lightning bolt. He gave Percy the backpack that had the lightning bolt in it. Percy ends up fighting Hades for the lightning bolt and wins. He takes the lightning bolt to Olympus, returns it to Zeus, has an awkward kind of conversation with his dad. Percy then ultimately chooses to go home with his mom and spend the school year in the human world, right before he is betrayed by who he thought was a friend, Luke, who is actually the lightning thief. So now to get into my thoughts on the book. So first of all, this was a great book. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait to finally get through the entire series. I really wish that I had read this when I was a little bit younger. I feel like I would have loved it. I did watch the movies when I was younger though, and now that I'm getting into the fandom, I understand that a lot of people do not like the movies at all, and I kind of understand now. So anything that is accurate in the movies I basically have spoilers for, which is disappointing. I really wish that I had read the books before the movies. I loved Percy's character so much. He is such a cool character. He's so relatable and snarky and just says things. He's very anti-authority. I really like him. He just kind of says things that I already am thinking. A lot of times when I read books, I'm like, oh, this guy is such an idiot. Why isn't this person just say this thing? And Percy will be the person to say that thing. When he called the god of war a coward, which he was, and that the gods are all basically deadbeat dads who need to pay child support. I'm like, yes, exactly. So I just relate to his character a lot, and I really like him. Some of my favorite scenes or chapters was definitely the Lotus Hotel and Casino. I loved that chapter. It was such just it was very tempting because it was so fun. You would want to stay there. Oh my god, I loved that scene at the Empire State Building where Percy comes in. He looks like some disheveled homeless kid. He's been through it the last few days, you know. Comes in, there's a security guard there, and he's like, 600th floor, please. And he's like, doesn't exist. And the way he just pulls out the lightning bolt, and I just love that. I just love that so much. Also, Charon wanting a raise, that was funny. I like that. I seriously need to read more shorter books like this because this was 22 chapters. The chapters were 5 to 8 pages long, so it's not that thick of a book, you know. And it was honestly a relief and so much easier to get through, because if you've been following the channel for a while, you know I've been recently I was reading A School for Good and Evil and Keeper of the Lost Cities, and those books, they're kids books, but they are thick. They're 70 chapters long, and the chapters are 12 pages, so this was a relief. Always gotta check my notes here to make sure I don't miss anything that I want to talk about. They ate so many burgers in this book. It felt like any time that they were eating, they were always eating. It was double stack cheeseburger with fries and a milkshake. And it was so often I was like, dang, I want that. And I actually ordered a cheeseburger while I was reading this. Oh, the little detail with the blue food was really cute. I really liked that. I'm really glad Sally is finally rid of Gabe and that she's going to college and that she's she's just doing the thing, and I'm really happy to see what happens to her throughout this series. I don't know if I really have any strong or big criticisms at all? I don't really think so. It was a good book. So that was pretty much all of my thoughts on the book. If you've read this book, please comment below and tell me what you thought of it. If you enjoyed this video, please like it so I know. And if you would like to see the rest of my review of this series, please subscribe and ring the bell so you know when I post. And that's pretty much it. Bye guys!